All right, let's talk about CapCut. Today, we're going to create our very first video using it. And seriously, if you're looking for a free editing app that's actually really powerful, you've definitely come to the right place.
So, have you ever looked at video editing and just thought, that looks way too hard? Like you need some super expensive software or a beast of a computer just to get started. Well, if that sounds like you, then you're going to love this.
We're going to prove that whole idea wrong, and we're going to do it in just about 5 minutes. I'm going to show you exactly how you can take a bunch of random clips from your phone and turn them into something that looks polished and is totally ready to share.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can jump into all the fun editing stuff, we've got to get the app and actually start our first project.
Getting set up is super simple. First, just go download CapCut from their website or your app store. When you open it up, it's going to ask for permission to see your videos. Go ahead and say yes. Then you'll see a big blue New Project button. Just tap that. Oh, and a quick heads up, you might see some pop-ups trying to get you to subscribe or pay. Just look for the X and close them. Everything we're doing today is 100% free.
All right, so you've started a new project and you see this screen. I know, it can look a little intimidating, but don't worry. It's really just 3 main areas that you need to know about.
So let's break it down. See that area in the top left? That's your media bin. It's basically where all your video files are going to live. Right in the middle, that big screen is the player. That's just your preview window. And then down at the bottom, and this is the most important part, the timeline. That is where you're going to build your entire story.
And while you're working on the timeline, you're going to see this vertical white line. That thing is called the playhead. The easiest way to think about it is like the cursor in a text document. Wherever that line is, that's the exact spot you're looking at in your video. It's absolutely crucial for knowing precisely where to make your cuts. Let's move on to the most important skill in all of video editing. And it's really simple. It's just cutting out the parts you don't want and keeping the parts you do. This is the absolute core of the whole process. I love this analogy. Think of your timeline as a train track, and each one of your video clips is a different train car. All we're doing is arranging those cars in the right order to take our viewer on a little journey.
You know what? No matter how complicated or fancy an edit looks, it almost always comes down to these 3 basic moves: trimming, splitting, and deleting. If you can master these 3 things, you can edit pretty much anything.
So let's start with trimming. This is by far the easiest one. You know that little bit of dead air at the beginning of a clip before you start talking? Well, you just grab the edge of that clip and drag it inward to shorten it. It's perfect for getting those clean starts and stops.
Okay, next up is splitting. Think of this as your digital pair of scissors. You just move that white line, the playhead, to the exact frame where you want to make a cut, tap the split button, and just like that, one clip becomes 2 separate pieces.
And this is where the real magic happens, when you combine those skills. Say you stumbled over a word in the middle of a sentence. No problem. You just split right before the mistake, and then split again right after it. This isolates that little bad take into its own clip, which you can then just select and delete. Gone.
And hey, don't worry if this feels a little clumsy at first. Trust me, every single editor on the planet has been there. It's all about building that muscle memory, and with just a little practice, trimming and splitting will become completely second nature, I promise.
Okay, so you've assembled your story, you've cleaned up the mistakes. Now let's add a couple of really simple touches that will instantly make your video feel more polished and professional.
So, going back to our train analogy, right? Sometimes a hard cut from one clip to another can feel a little jarring. Well, transitions are like the smooth connectors between those train cars, and they make the ride for your viewer a whole lot more pleasant. Adding a transition is incredibly easy. On your timeline, you can either tap that little white square you see between your clips, or just find the Transitions tab. And here's some friendly advice. You don't need anything fancy. A simple black fade or mix is often all it takes to look great. Just drag it right onto the cut.
One last thing before we finish, and this is super important. Make sure your video has the right shape for the platform where you're going to post it. So for a standard YouTube video, you'll want that widescreen 16:9 look. But for TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts, you absolutely need the vertical 9:16 ratio.
And there you have it. You've done all the hard work. Your video is cut, it has transitions, it's the right shape. Now it's time to export this thing and share it with the world.
So when you're ready to export, you're going to see a bunch of technical settings. Don't worry about all of them. The main one you want to focus on for resolution is this number, 1080p.
Yeah, while your camera might shoot in 4K or even higher, 1080p resolution is truly the gold standard for social media. It gives you fantastic quality that looks crisp on any screen, but it keeps the file size manageable so it's way easier to upload.
So here is your final checklist. First, give your project a name so you can find it later. Second, make sure that resolution is set to 1080p. And finally, just hit that big blue export button. CapCut will do its thing and save the finished video right to your device.
And just like that, that's it. You did it. In just a few minutes, you've gone from having a bunch of raw clips to a fully edited video. And you've learned the fundamental skills that every single video creator uses every single day. You now have the fundamental tools and the knowledge to bring any idea you have to life. So the only question left is, what story are you going to tell first?